Hi there, I'm Raya from the COVID Recovery Initiative, and today I wanted to speak to you about the management strategies of orthostatic intolerance. Now, following post-COVID, looking into long haulers, we are seeing a lot of orthostatic intolerance. Now, you may know what that is or you may not, but essentially it is your body's difficulty in regulating its blood pressure and or heart rate upon postural changes. Now, we're seeing this a lot due to deconditioning and potentially due to predisposing factors that people are predisposed to and then therefore experiencing after COVID. Now, this is something that you may have read. It tends to be labelled orthostatic intolerance is the umbrella term. You may have heard it called POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Now, this is really important to discuss because there's actually very easy management strategies. Now, it's not going to fix, but they are management strategies. And this is something really important to take on board because this will dictate how symptomatic you are and can play a very large role in helping you manage your days a little bit better. So we tend to see 5 major coping or management strategies, I should say, for orthostatic intolerance. Now, in terms of symptoms, you may experience dizziness, lightheadedness, vagueness, brain fog, heart palpitations, tachycardia, fast heart rate. You may experience shortness of breath, which we know is obviously a very common COVID symptom as well. You may experience headaches. You may experience muscle aches and pains throughout the body, and you might actually have a difficulty in sitting upright or standing upright. Now, in terms of management strategies, the first one that we're going to is hydration. We do want to keep very hydrated, drinking about 2 to 3 litres of water per day. Now, it's really important that this is a big part of the day, but where we have our hydration is really important too. So in the first hour of waking up, we want to make sure that we have about half a litre of water. Now, that's going to help with regulating our blood pressure and heart rate and help us get started with the day. Okay, so we want to have we want to aim to have about 1 litre of water before midday, and we want to make sure that we're aiming for 2 to 3 litres of water per day. Now, I myself have orthostatic intolerance, and I have a 1.3 litre drink bottle that I'm looking at over there that I find is really helpful in making sure to keep myself accountable to drink enough water. So I encourage you to get a jug or a drink bottle or something like that so that you can actually track whether you're having enough water. A lot of people think, oh yeah, I drink a few glasses a day. That's probably not enough. So we want to make sure that the number one management strategy for these symptoms, we want to make sure we're drinking enough water. Now, number 2 may be dependent on whether you do have high blood pressure. So this is something that you may first okay with your doctor, but we like to encourage an increase in salt intake. Now, those with orthostatic intolerance, we tend to see them in the subgroup of lower blood pressure. Therefore, the prescription of salt is a good idea. Those with high blood pressure, we would say no. So this is why I say speak to your GP first, but adding salt into our diet can, again, play a very large role in helping maintain our blood pressure and helping regulate blood pressure and heart rate upon postural changes. Now, number 3 is compression. So there are a few different types of compression, predominantly either being socks, stockings, pants, or even water. So compression acts as a compressant. So it helps narrow, in a good way, narrow those blood vessels, which means it's easier for them to work against gravity to promote blood flow, getting blood back to our brain. So compression is a really easy thing that we can add to our day. They can be, as I said, in the form of socks, stockings, exercise pants. You've got to be careful with the label compression. Not all compression actually is effective. There is compression and then there is medical grade compression. So when we talk about compression, we are talking about medical grade compression, which actually has a measurement. So in millimeters of mercury, mmHg, we are looking for 20 to 30. So it's not just to say, you've got your compression pants from, say, Kmart or Aldi. We do actually want to look at specific types of compression that actually have a grade of compression. Now, next, one of the other things that we do need to look at is postures. So when we are standing for prolonged periods of time like this, we can see that our blood pressure can drop, our heart rate can rise because our blood is pooling in our lower limbs. So if you were to look at my feet right now, they'd probably be a little bit discolored. They might be a little bit darker, and you notice that I do tend to fidget and move around a little bit. So I talk with my hands and I change my body position. So pacing your postures, so how long you're standing, how long you're sitting, taking breaks with feet elevated, or taking horizontal breaks like lying down, or when you're standing doing your weight shift, potentially calf raises, whatever it may be. This is helping to regulate blood flow around our body and help circulate. So again, hoping to minimize that blood pressure drop and therefore any rise in heart rate that may occur as well. So pacing postures is a really important one. We want to make sure that we're helping our blood flow and circulate throughout our body rather than it pooling in our lower limbs. Okay. This will also work alongside, again, depending on where you're at within your COVID journey, exercise. One of the best strategies in terms of prevention of symptoms from an OI or POTS perspective is exercise. Now, if we think of what exercise is, it is promotion of blood flow throughout our entire body. So again, depending on where you are in your journey, exercise might be sitting upright or it might be going for a walk. Now, that'll be very dependent on your condition level and capacity and also your previous history too. So exercise is a good one, but as I said, exercise might look a little bit different at the moment. Exercise might be that you aim to sit upright for 5 minutes every hour, or it might be that you aim to achieve 1,000 steps within the day and track your activity. So there are different ways that we can go about exercise, but it's a really effective way to help regulate blood flow, okay? So I hope you found these strategies helpful. I can go into much more depth of all of these. We do also have another video explaining orthostatic intolerance if you want to know a little bit about that. But today, here is our management strategies. If you found this helpful, I do encourage you to share this on platforms. We are seeing so many people experience OI and POTS, and we need to make sure that they're aware of how best to look after themselves because these symptoms can be really, really scary. And it is really important that you speak to your medical team, whether that be your GP or your specialist, just to make sure that you've done your diagnostic testing, making sure that we are looking at OI rather than anything else, and therefore look at the appropriate management strategies alongside. So if you have found this helpful, do feel free to share. But if you do have any questions at all, we do specialize in this area. So do feel free to post those comments below or send us a message. That's exactly what we're here for. We are here to help navigate people through their journey of COVID and their journey out of COVID. Have a great day.